Foster, Claire Keegan, Chapter 3. I wake in this new place to the old feeling of being hot and cold all at once. Mrs. Kinsella does not notice until later in the day when she is stripping the bed. "Lord God Almighty," she says. "What?" "Would you look?" she says. "What?" I want to tell her right now to admit to it and be sent home, so it will be over. "These old mattresses," she says, "they weep. They're always weeping. What was I thinking of, putting you on this?" We drag it down the stairs, out into the sunlit yard. The hound comes up and sniffs it, ready to cock his leg. "Get off, you!" she shouts in an iron voice. "What's all this?" Kinsella has come in from the fields. "It's a mattress," she says. "The bloody thing is weeping. Didn't I say it was damp in that room?" "In fairness," he says, "you did. But you shouldn't have dragged that down the stairs on your own." "I wasn't on my own," she says. "I had help." We scrub it with detergent and hot water and leave it there in the sun to dry. "That's terrible," she says. "A terrible start altogether. After that, I think we need a rasher." She heats up the pan and fries rashers and tomatoes cut in halves with the cut sides down. She likes to cut things up, to scrub and have things ready and to call things what they are. "Rashers," she says, putting the rashers on the spitting pan. "Run out there and pull a few scallions, good girl." I run out to the vegetable garden, pull scallions and run back in fast as I can, as though the house is on fire and it's water I've been sent for. I'm wondering if there's enough, but the woman laughs. "Well, we'll not run short, anyhow." She puts me in charge of the toast, lighting the grill for me, showing me how the bread must be turned when one side is brown, as though this is something I haven't ever done. But I don't really mind. She wants me to get things right, to teach me. "Are we ready?" "Yeah," I say. "Yes." "Good girl. Go out there and give himself a shout." I go out and call the call my mother taught me up in the fields. "Coo-hoo!" Kinsella comes in a few minutes later, laughing. "Now there's a shout and a half," he says. "I doubt there's a child in Wexford with a finer set of lungs." He washes his hands and dries them, sits in at the table and butters his bread. The butter is soft, slipping off the knife, spreading easily. "They said on the early news another striker's dead." "Not another?" "Aye. He passed during the night. Poor man. Isn't it a terrible state of affairs?" "God rest him," the woman says. "It's no way to die." "Wouldn't it make you grateful, though?" he says. "A man starved himself to death, and here I am, on a fine day, with 2 women feeding me." "Haven't you earned it?" the woman says. "I don't know, have I?" he says. "But it's happening anyway." All through the day I help the woman around the house. She shows me the big white machine that plugs in a freezer where what she calls perishables can be stored for months without rotting. We make ice cubes, go over every inch of the floors with a hoovering machine, dig new potatoes, make coleslaw and 2 loaves, and then she takes the clothes in off the line while they are still damp and sets up a board and starts ironing. She is like the man, doing it all without rushing, but neither one of them ever really stops. Kinsella comes in and makes tea for all of us and drinks it standing up with a handful of Kimberley biscuits, then goes back out again. Later, he comes in looking for me. "Is the wee girl there?" he calls. I run out to the door. "Can you run?" "What?" "Are you fast on your feet?" he says. "Sometimes," I say. "Well, run down there to the end of the lane as far as the box and run back." "The box?" I say. "The post box. You'll see it there. Be as fast as you can." I take off, racing to the end of the lane and find the box and get the letters and race back. Kinsella is looking at his watch. "Not bad," he says, "for your first time." He takes the letters from me. There's 4 in all, nothing in my mother's hand. "Do you think there's money in any of these?" "I don't know." "Ah, you'd know if there was, surely. The women can smell money. Do you think there's news?" "I wouldn't know," I say. "Do you think there's a wedding invitation?" I want to laugh. "It wouldn't be yours anyhow," he says. "You're too young to be getting married." "Do you think you'll get married?" "I don't know," I say. "Mammy says I shouldn't take a present of a man." Kinsella laughs. She could be right there. "Still and all, there's no 2 men the same, and it'd be a swift man that would catch you, Longlegs. We'll try you again tomorrow and see if we can't improve your time." "I've to go faster." "Oh, aye," he says. "By the time you're ready for home, you'll be like a reindeer. There'll not be a man in the parish will catch you without a long-handled net and a racing bike." That night, after supper, when Kinsella is reading his newspaper in the parlour, the woman sits down at the cooker and tells me she's working on her complexion. "It's a secret," she says. "Not many people know about this." She takes a packet of Weetabix out of the cupboard and eats one of them, not with milk in a bowl, but dry, out of her hand. "Look at me," she says. "I haven't so much as a pimple." And sure enough, she doesn't. Her skin is clear. "But you said there are no secrets here." "Ah, this is different, more like a secret recipe." She hands me one, then another, and watches as I eat them. They taste a bit like the dry bark of a tree must taste, but I don't really care, as some part of me is pleased to please her. I eat 5 in all during the 9 o'clock news, while they show the mother of the dead striker, a riot, then the Taoiseach, and then foreign people out in Africa starving to death, and then the weather forecast, which says the days are to be fine for another week or so. The woman sits me on her lap through it all and idly strokes my bare feet. "You have nice long toes," she says. "Nice feet." Later, she makes me lie down on the bed before I go to sleep and cleans the wax out of my ears with a hair clip. "You could have planted a geranium in what was there," she says. "Does your mammy not clean out your ears?" "She hasn't always time," I say, guarded. "I suppose the poor woman doesn't," she says. "What, with all of ye?" She takes the hairbrush then, and I can hear her counting under her breath to 100, and then she stops and plats it loosely. I fall asleep fast that night, and when I wake, the old feeling is not there. Later that morning, when Mrs. Kinsella is making the bed, she looks at me, pleased. "Your complexion is better already, see," she says. "All you need is minding." Foster, Claire Keegan, Chapter 3.